Now, everyone says that Fort Worth is way cheaper than Dallas, but when you actually break it down by the numbers on housing, luxury rentals, property taxes, utilities, and day-to-day expenses, the gap isn't necessarily what you think. Now, my name is Devin, and I help people relocate to Dallas-Fort Worth, whether you're buying your first new construction home or you're looking for a luxury high-rise downtown. And I've done so for families and professionals trying to decide between the two cities. In this video, you'll get the real cost breakdown of living in Fort Worth versus Dallas, so you'll see exactly what you'll save if you'll save anything at all. Now, here's the truth. Fort Worth is cheaper than Dallas in most categories, but the difference ranges between massive savings in some areas, guys, and almost nothing in others, unfortunately. And if you make the wrong assumptions on whether you're buying a home or you're looking for a luxury apartment, you could end up spending more than you actually expected. Now, guys, I've put together the complete relocation blueprint that breaks down the real cost of living between Fort Worth and Dallas. So if you're trying to figure out where your money goes further, give me a call or shoot me a text at the number below. My contact information is also in the pinned description. Let's get the steps going to help you call DFW home. Now let's break into it and look at the real numbers of living in Fort Worth versus Dallas. Now let's start with the biggest expense for most people, and that's going to be housing and rent. For home buyers, the median home price in Fort Worth in 2025 was $335,000, and in Dallas it was $385,000. Now, that's a $50,000 difference, which actually sounds pretty big until you realize that $50K spread across a 30-year mortgage is only about roughly $280 per month at current interest rates. So yes, Fort Worth is actually cheaper in that department, but we're talking about a couple $100, not half home prices or anything huge like that. Now, for the renters, your typical one bedroom in Fort Worth is going to average about $1,250 per month. And in Dallas, it's $1,410. Now that's a $160 savings or $1,920 per year. So it's noticeable, but nothing like crazy or life-changing. Now, if you're a luxury renter, the gap gets a little bit more interesting. A luxury one bedroom in downtown Fort Worth at places like the Sinclair or the Tower, it'll run you about $1,800 to $2,400 per month with amenities like a rooftop pool, concierge service, skyline views, and even parking included, guys. Now in Dallas, a comparable luxury one bedroom in Uptown or Deep Ellum or even the Arch District will run you about $2,200 to $3,200 per month. So for luxury two bedrooms in Fort Worth, that ranges from $2,500 to $3,500, while Dallas pushes $3,200 to $4,800 for premium buildings like the Katy. Now that's a $400 to $1,000 per month difference for my luxury renters. So now we're talking about some real money here. Fort Worth wins big in this department. Now here's where things get interesting for buyers. If you're comparing specific neighborhoods, the gap either widens or, if we're being honest, it just disappears completely. A home in Fort Worth's near South Side can cost around $430,000, which is more expensive than plenty of Dallas neighborhoods like Oak Cliff and Pleasant Grove. Now, meanwhile, Fort Worth's North Side averages $3,000 to $6,000 depending on the block. So it's right in line with Dallas's mid-tier neighborhoods. So overall, guys, for housing, Fort Worth wins by about 10 to 15% for buyers and 20 to 30% for luxury renters. Now guys, if you're a renter, you can mentally skip this section for now, but if you're buying, pay close attention because this expense can surprise everyone. I know it surprised my wife and I, and that's property taxes. Fort Worth's effective property tax rate is 1.76% compared to Dallas's 1.78%. So what that means is on a $335,000 home in Fort Worth, you're spending around $5,800 per year on property taxes, which is about $483 a month. For the same home in Dallas, you're paying about $5,960 per year or $496 a month. Now that's a $15 difference. Now here's the kicker. If you buy in certain Fort Worth suburbs like Keller or Southlake, your property tax rate might actually be higher in parts of Dallas because you're paying into a smaller city's budget and top tier school districts. Now, here's the nice thing, guys. Both cities offer a $100,000 homestead exemption for school district taxes. And if you're over 65, you get an additional $200,000 exemption. So the tax burden is basically a wash in both cities. I guess what I'm trying to say is don't move to Fort Worth if you're expecting to save big on taxes because you just simply won't. Now, let's talk about the bills that we all pay every single month, whether you're buying or you're renting. Now, utilities in Fort Worth are about 16% higher than the national average, and in Dallas, they're in about the same range. So in the summertime, your electric bill, when it gets mad hot in DFW, Expect to pay in both cities about $250 to $400 per month if you're cooling a typical 2,000 square foot home or a large apartment. Now, the nice thing about my renting is most luxury apartments are gonna include your water and trash, but things like the electricity are gonna almost be always on you. Now, gas in both cities are about the same right now, currently sitting about $3 to $3.45 per gallon depending on the week, and groceries are a fraction cheaper in Fort Worth, but we're talking about 3 to 5%. So you might save about $10 to $15 on a $200 grocery trip. Now, car insurance, it's slightly cheaper in Fort Worth, but the average premium is around $1,800 versus $1,950 in Dallas. So that's a $150 savings there just on car insurance alone, which is basically like a tank of gas if you look at the prices right now. And if you're eating out, Fort Worth has cheaper options overall, but dinner for two in Fort Worth will run you about 60 to 80 bucks compared to Dallas. If you're in a nice area, it'll be about 80 to 120 bucks for the same experience. If you're hitting the higher end spots like Riata or Lonesome Dove in Fort Worth versus Knife or Uche in Dallas, the gap narrows, but Fort Worth edges out slightly cheaper still. So for day-to-day expenses, Fort Worth is gonna edge out Dallas. But if you're being intentional about it, you could really save about $100 to $200 per month, which is pretty big for most people. So guys, if you're really trying to figure out whether Fort Worth or Dallas makes more sense for your budget and your lifestyle, whether you're renting luxury or you're buying your first home, give me a call or shoot me a text at the number below, and let's build your relocation blueprint that actually fits your financial goals. Now, I want to jump into two areas right now that are extremely important for most people, and that's going to be your income and your commute cost. All right, guys, here's where things get a bit interesting. Dallas has more higher paying jobs than Fort Worth, but the median household income says different. The household income in Dallas is $58,200 compared to Fort Worth $63,000. So wait, Devin, Fort Worth is actually higher. Well, yes, but that number is a bit misleading because it includes wealthy suburbs like Southlake and Westlake being included in the averages. Now, when you look at job availability overall, Dallas dominates here. Dallas has twice as many corporate headquarters as Fort Worth. More tech jobs, more finance jobs, and higher average paying white collar industries. Now, if you're into tech, finance, corporate management, then you'll likely make 10 to 20% more working in Dallas than you will Fort Worth. Now, Fort Worth job market is still extremely strong. We've got American Airlines, Lockheed Martin, Amazon distribution centers, and a booming logistics sector, but the type of jobs skew kind of blue collar and middle management. So if you're moving here and taking a remote job or transferring within the company at the same salary, Fort Worth might actually be cheaper for you. But if you're job hunting locally, Dallas might actually pay you extra to offset the higher cost of living, especially if you're a high earner who can afford a luxury apartment or a premium neighborhood anyway. Now let's talk about commute costs, because this one can sneak up on you, can get tricky, and this is where Fort Worth can actually cost you more. The average commute in Fort Worth is 26.8 minutes, and it's ranked 10th hardest commute in the US because of how spread out everything is. Now in Dallas, the commute time is 27.3 minutes, so they're basically identical. But here's the catch. Fort Worth has way less public transit than Dallas, like way less. Dallas has DART, which connects downtown to the airports, suburbs, and job centers, where Fort Worth has TexRail, which only connects downtown Fort Worth to DFW Airport and a few stops in between. If you live in Fort Worth, but you plan to work in Dallas or vice versa, you're driving about 45 minutes to an hour each way, and you're putting about 25,000 to 30,000 miles per year on your car. That's an extra $3,000 to $5,000 per year in gas, maintenance, tolls, and depreciation. But so if your job is in Dallas, but you want to live in Fort Worth to save on housing, you might actually lose money once you factor in the commute cost. Now guys, on this last one, no matter if you're renting or buying, lifestyle may matter to you just as much as cost. Now Dallas has way more urban living options. Places like Uptown, Deep Ellum, the Design District, Knox Henderson, all these places you can park your car and walk to restaurants, bars, coffee shops, and even nightlife. Now Fort Worth has some areas like this, like downtown and near South Side, and they're getting there, but the walkable footprint just is much smaller. So Fort Worth's luxury rental scene is concentrated around the downtown Sundance Square area, West 7th, and parts of near South Side. Now you've got a few building options like the Tower, the Sinclair, 77 Main, and newer options popping up around Magnolia Avenue. Now, Dallas has tripled the inventory of luxury high-rises and mid-rises though, spread across Uptown, Downtown, Victory Park, and Knox Henderson. So if you want a true urban living feel with walkability and nightlife at your doorstep, Dallas is gonna win here. If you want a more laid-back vibe with lower rent and you're okay with driving most places, Fort Worth is gonna be your spot. The way that I look at it is Fort Worth is more like a city of neighborhoods and Dallas feels like a true metro. So is Fort Worth cheaper than Dallas? The answer is yes, but the gap depends entirely on your situation. If you're a luxury renter, Fort Worth is 20 to 30% cheaper for you and you'll save serious money every single month. If you're a home buyer, Fort Worth is 10 to 15% cheaper, but you gotta remember things like property taxes and commute costs can eat into that very quickly. Day-to-day expenses are gonna be lower in Fort Worth, but the plus side on the Dallas side is you're gonna have more higher paying jobs, better public transit, and way more urban walkability. So in the end, the real question isn't which city is cheaper, it's which city fits your lifestyle, career, and current priorities the best. So guys, if you're still trying to decide between Fort Worth and Dallas, whether you're a luxury renter, you're buying your first home, or you're relocating from out of state and you have no clue at all what to do, give me a call or shoot me a text at the number below. I'll show you the best luxury buildings and master plan communities and help you find the right areas that fit your budget and vibe. Let's truly build your blueprint so that you can move to DFW securely and not second guess your decision. Now guys, for more videos on the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.